Hey everybody, it's the gang and we're here at BlizzCon on day 2. It's about to wind down, but everybody's had kind of a full day. G, you got to clock in more quality time with Diablo. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so one of the other things they announced here at the show is the PvP arena mode. And this is basically a dedicated PvP area where 2 teams of 3 players can basically beat the crap out of each other. What's interesting is seeing how sort of the different classes sort of balance each other out when you're playing against another team. For example, we had a team of 2 barbarians and 1 witch doctor against a team of, I think, 2 wizards and 1 witch doctor, and we just got completely obliterated because the barbarian, he's not so good in situations against 2 wizards, against any sort of projectile enemies in this map, which is an enclosed arena. It does have some pit areas where no player can actually walk across, so that's why projectile players sort of have the advantage. And there's some pillars that players can hide behind, things like that. But basically the whole goal is to wipe out the other team of 3 players. Once you've done that, you've won the round, you can play another match. And we also actually sat in on another Diablo 3 panel that we learned about a few new sort of little details about the single player game. And one of them is that customization is sort of a big thing. So players will be able to find these dyes that they can use to change the color of their armor. And some of these dyes will be super easy to find, but some of them will also be very, very rare. So if you want like the super crimson, battle armor for the barbarian, you're going to have to find that armor and then find the super rare crimson dye for it. So a bunch of little details like that. We learned a little bit more about the artisans as well. There's a mystic who is basically responsible for enchanting your items, and she can identify items for you. We also learned a little bit more about the jeweler, who can take jewels out of socketed weapons. So unlike in Diablo 2, where you're basically like, I don't know if I want to use my gems now to put in this socketed weapon, you don't really have to worry about that anymore. The jeweler can take them back out for a small fee. So yeah, a lot of Diablo 3.
But still no release date, right?
No, there is no release date. I personally am hoping next year, but...
Start those petitions now. Now, Tom's had kind of an interesting day because besides panels, you got to talk to Rob Pardo, didn't you?
I did. I talked to Rob Pardo earlier today, actually this morning, and I asked him a little bit about the things that were going on with Dota and Valve. And he apparently, Blizzard and Valve kind of had a little falling out over this. Valve didn't talk to Blizzard before going ahead and trademarking the Dota name, which is the Dota, of course, is the mod for Warcraft 3, Defense of the Ancients. So apparently there was just no communication before this came out, and it kind of struck me that Blizzard was a little miffed over this whole thing. But some of the other things I saw also were Starcraft 2. I saw a lot of Starcraft 2 panels. Mostly they were talking about the multiplayer component. The first one I saw was mostly about how to play like a pro. Of course, Starcraft 2 is a hugely competitive game, especially at the top level. So it was a little rudimentary. Make sure you're using terrain, make sure you're building workers. But it was still kind of interesting to hear like what the designers behind the top tier game had to say about it. And then I saw another part of the panel where they kind of delved into what actually goes into balancing this game, and they use just a large variety of tools, ranging from community feedback to pro feedback to spreadsheets to this kind of prototyping tool that they have, where basically they just pit a few units against one another and let them go to town. And basically they just combine all of these different tools to get a balanced game.
Cool. And so for me, I got to sit in on a couple World of Warcraft panels. I was mostly QAs, where the team kind of got reamed by fans that were asking for one thing or another. It's been funny to be coming to these for so many years now and see like the nature of the questions early on, when WoW was still pretty new, was pretty basic, and now everybody's just coming at them with very detailed spell and balancing specific questions, and they kind of have answers for everything, which is really funny. And I got to spend more time with the Starcraft 2 mods, IR Chef, which is really funny. You got to go around and collect ingredients to make recipes, which is kind of a little Japanese food creation game influence, I would imagine. And obviously spent some more time playing Star Jeweled and Left to Die, which is, I think, because you got to play Dota, probably the hardest one here. So it's pretty brutal. but it's still very fun and free, so, try it. But that's it for BlizzCon this year. We're actually about to take off and go check out the Tenacious D concert, which is going to close out the whole shebang. So be sure and check back on the site for all the coverage, and we'll have more for you on the show in just a bit.